Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on my video again. Today we are starting a new thing here, and I've done a lot of tier lists on this channel, mostly for movies I've watched in a month or in a year or whatever you got. But today, my new thing is I'm going to start a tier ranking of all the MCU films. I did want to do a review series of these films, but because I'm only at like 300 subscribers right now, I didn't want to start filming my favorite franchises review series until I had a bigger audience and I could reach more people. So for now, we're just going to start with this tier list. I think it's fun, I think it's easy, and I think it's a good way to introduce myself into my favorite series on my YouTube channel, which is the MCU. So without further ado, let's get started on the first tier list, and that is a ranking of the Phase 1 MCU films. I know Phase 1 is just 6 films, so as the videos progress and the phases get bigger, the tier list will get bigger and longer. But for now, we're going to start off with a simple and easy one. And the first movie, everyone knows, in this franchise, in this phase, is the original Iron Man. And for me, this movie is going up into that amazing tier. What a way to start your franchise, and what a way to kick off the MCU. Robert Downey Jr. proved all the haters wrong when he came out in his role as Iron Man. He was perfect for the role, and now, after everyone was criticizing the choice, we are here almost 20 years later, and everyone is saying no one else should ever play Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. will be the best to do it, and I have to agree, that's how much he killed it. And personally, I'm quite excited to see him in his upcoming role as Dr. Doom. I know it's a bit of a tough subject for people. A lot of people don't like that, and I get where they're coming from, but I think it'll be cool. But like I said, going into the movie, Iron Man deserves this amazing tier. It was a perfect kickoff for this franchise. If the movie that started the MCU wasn't this good, the MCU would not be around today. I firmly believe that. If the first movie was like The Incredible Hulk, or one of these new movies we're getting in Phase 5 and Phase 6 that people just aren't gravitating towards, the MCU would have just ran off the rails and ended there. So I'm very happy that this was the first film we got. And up next is a movie that I just kind of talked down on, but I actually don't hate it as much as other people do, and that is The Incredible Hulk. And I think I'm going to throw this one in the average, solid film tier. In my opinion, this is a fun movie. I do enjoy this movie, and I don't mind getting to it in my MCU rewatch if I ever do them. There are quite a few films that when I get to them on my MCU rewatch, I am a bit dreading to watch them. I almost want to skip them, but usually when I'm doing a rewatch, I'm either showing my friends it, showing my parents it, showing my girlfriend it, so I have to sit through all of them. I have to get the whole story, and that's okay. This isn't a film that I would throw on personally if I'm just watching a random movie one night, but like I said, I don't think it's a bad film. I think that it's a solid film. And I think that it was a good, second moment for the MCU. It is kind of sad that the MCU has kind of forgotten about this movie now and just only focused on the Mark Ruffalo Hulk. That's okay, I understand it, but I think it gets way too much hate. Next up, we have Iron Man 2, and for me, this is also going in average, solid film. For me, honestly, the first 3 phases of the MCU were all great things. I don't really hate any movies from these first 3 phases like other people do. There are movies post-Endgame that I do tend to hate, and I do tend to wish, never came out because they spoil a lot of things for me. They give me a bad taste in my mouth, and for the first time in my life since I was 8 years old, I'm at a point with the MCU where I have stopped watching everything that comes out right away. If it's something like Black Panther 2 or Spider-Man or Deadpool, I'll go out and see it opening night, but quite a few things like The Marvels or the Echo TV show, I still haven't even got around to them yet. I need to for this whole tier list I'm doing, and I want to eventually, but that's just how much the MCU has soured on me from being my favorite franchise, and I don't think any of these early movies did that. Yes, Iron Man 2 is a big step down from the original Iron Man. I think a lot of it has to do with the villain and how this was a more action-based movie than a character-based movie, whereas the original Iron Man was very character-based, showing us how Tony Stark was this billionaire philanthropist who didn't really care about people, produced weapons, did these things just for money, and then he turned into this hero at the end when he saw what his company was doing and wanted to right his actions he's made in his life. Like I said, a fun film, but doesn't have that deep story like the original one did. And next up, we have the original Thor. And again, I'm sticking with this average, solid film tier. I feel like the phase 1 of the MCU has some very high highs like you're going to see and like you have seen with Iron Man. And then it just has these solid films that keep the franchise going. Like I said with Hulk, if I get around to the first Thor, am I upset to watch it? No. I actually find myself enjoying it. I love that scene with Thor when he's in the coffee shop and he slams the mug down. I love the scene when they're trying to lift the hammer at the site. I just think there's a lot of fun things about this movie and a lot of stuff that really builds up the lore of Thor. I find the Earth scenes more entertaining than the Asgard scenes, and I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but for me that's just how it is. I don't think Asgard is fully, envisioned in this first film. I don't think that really happens until Ragnarok, but like I said, this is a movie that I'm not against watching. It would never be my first choice to put on, but I can have some fun with it as I'm watching it. Next up, we have Captain America, the First Avenger, and this is going on to that good tier list. This is a good film. I think all the Captain America films are good films. I won't lie, I'm not as much of a Captain America trilogy lover as the rest of you out there. I know for some of you, like Winter Soldier and Civil War are like the highest of the highs of the MCU. For me, there's other things I like more. I'm more of that funny, quirky kind of movie guy, so I'm into the Guardians films, I'm into Thor Ragnarok, I'm into those Avengers movies. These Captain America ones, they're good spy thrillers that are down to earth, but that's not what I gravitate towards in movies, but they are good films. And in all honesty, the first Captain America has some aspects to it that may lead it to be my favorite Captain America film. I'm not fully out on that, I flip on that every day. It could be Civil War, it could be Winter Soldier. I like all three, like I said, but there are some aspects of this one and the whole character study of this small dude with a good heart, Steve Rogers, becoming the savior of a nation. I do love this story. I think that Chris Evans does an incredible job as Captain America. It's fun to see him in this type of role and then watch him in Fantastic Four or Scott Pilgrim or Knives Out, where he's just like this asshole of a dude, and then he's playing perfect Mr. America here. So I do think it's fun to see Chris Evans in this role, and this is a movie that I will never not enjoy watching. It's always a good time. And lastly, we have the culmination of what Phase 1 was trying to be, and that is the Avengers movie. You have Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, and the Hulk all coming together with Black Widow and Hawkeye to create this super team and to save the world from Loki. And for me, this movie is going right up into that perfect tier. This is my favorite movie from Phase 1, and I think it is a perfect culmination for what they were building towards and what they finally got to with Endgame. This movie, when I first watched as a kid, gave me goosebumps, and it still does today when the six of them get together in that circle and the camera pans over them and you just see them getting ready for battle. It's an epic scene. This whole movie is epic. There's never a dull moment in it. From the first moment when they start putting together the Avengers and they find out Loki's a threat, to the end when they're getting shawarma, nothing beats this movie. And I know most of you will say Iron Man is the best movie in this phase, and I cannot disagree with you. I really understand where you're coming from, but for me, the most fun movie, the one I get the most entertainment out of, and the one that I would personally put on to watch out of all these films is that original Avengers. I love that movie, and I think without that movie, we would have never gotten Endgame and Infinity War and these great culminations of this huge story. This was a great movie that came together and put all these different aspects, all these different characters blended together so perfectly, and it truly did kill it as what it was trying to be. Alright, so I have put these all into tiers, and I think what I want to do next is rate them 1 through 6, or rank them 1 through 6. The first 3 pretty easy because I have 1 in perfect, 1 in amazing, 1 in good. For the average solid film tier, I'm going to have to do some rework here. I think my favorite one here is probably Thor. I just do love these origin stories. There are some sequels that I think are better than the originals in the MCU, but when it comes to this first phase, they were really killing it with the origin stories. Next up, I'm going to go Iron Man 2. I just think it's a fun film, and I think it's a good time. I think the whole camaraderie between Tony Stark and Rhodey was a really fun thing to, see in this movie. Even though the villains were very weak, they were played by great actors who were trying the best. I just think that the roles were written to were weak. But this movie is still a fun time. As long as you get to see Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man on your screen for a majority of the runtime, it's going to be a fun movie. He will bring it, and he will always show you why he is the king of the MCU. And then, sadly, coming in at last place, we have the Incredible Hulk. Like I said, my rankings can always change. Right now I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, do I swap Thor and Iron Man 2? I don't know. I'm keeping as it is for now. This is my ranking currently. Maybe when I finish this whole thing, I'll do a culmination of the Infinity Saga or a culmination of the entire MCU, and you'll see my ranking being different then. But as it stands now, we have Avengers as the best movie of Phase 1, with the Incredible Hulk as the worst movie, even though I don't think it's a bad film. Thank you all so much for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below, what is your ranking of that first phase of the MCU? What's your favorite movie there? What's your least favorite? And give me your reasoning why. I want to talk with you guys about this. I love discussing it. I don't think anyone's, ranking or tier list is perfect or right or wrong. I just think we all have our own opinions on it, and I love to hear yours. So like I said, please comment, please like, please subscribe. Help me with my goal, getting to 500 subscribers. We are moving up and we are getting there. I see it in the near future. I hope it happens. Thank you all so much and have a great day.